A single decision can change everything. Liam Carter had felt the weight of choices before, but nothing prepared him for this night. The rain pounded the streets of New York City as he stood outside a dimly lit warehouse, debating whether to arrest the notorious gang leader known only as Vargas. Rumors said the gang had connections with powerful figures, and one wrong move could destroy lives beyond imagination. A young family lived next door to the gang's hideout, innocent but unknowingly entwined in danger. Liam knew that hesitating could embolden Vargas, allowing countless crimes to unfold, but acting recklessly could cost innocent lives. The city seemed to hold its breath as he gripped his badge tightly, feeling the pulse of responsibility and dread. Every siren in the distance echoed the stakes of his decision. He wondered how justice could be served in a world where every choice carried consequences that spiraled far beyond what anyone could predict. That night, Liam realized that sometimes being a hero meant becoming the source of someone else's pain, and yet doing nothing wasn't an option. He stepped forward, prepared to face the fallout. The arrest went smoother than Liam anticipated, but the aftermath was catastrophic in ways he could never have imagined. Within hours, a young journalist named Emily Hayes, who had been investigating Vargas for months, was caught in a violent crossfire triggered by the gang's desperate retaliation. Her cries echoed in Liam's ears as he watched paramedics rush her to the hospital, and guilt gnawed at him relentlessly. Social media hailed him as a hero, unaware of the suffering caused by his choice. Liam walked through the city streets, haunted by the faces of those indirectly hurt by his actions. Every newspaper headline praising him felt like a knife twisting deeper into his conscience. Meanwhile, Vargas's gang regrouped and plotted vengeance, aware that Liam's intervention had shaken their world. Liam realized that morality wasn't a straight line, and even the most righteous act could leave a trail of pain. Nights became restless, filled with dreams of the injured journalist and the innocent family near Vargas's territory. Liam began questioning the very nature of right and wrong, understanding that choices carried invisible victims who no one would ever know about. The weight of responsibility became suffocating. As Liam delved deeper into the gang's secrets, he uncovered shocking connections to high-ranking politicians in Washington, D.C., and the conspiracy seemed to stretch across the nation. Evidence of corruption, bribery, and manipulation filled his files, revealing a world where choices were never purely moral. Each revelation made him realize that his actions in New York could spark nationwide chaos if mishandled. He spent sleepless nights weighing the consequences, knowing that exposing the truth could ruin careers, topple governments, and indirectly harm millions, yet silence would allow the corruption to flourish. He walked past skyscrapers reflecting the city lights, imagining how many lives were silently at stake, hidden behind boardroom doors and political speeches. The deeper he went, the clearer it became that he was entangled in something far bigger than gang violence, something that demanded impossible choices. Every option seemed to hurt someone, and yet inaction was no longer a luxury. Liam understood that morality in a world governed by power was not absolute. It was a series of compromises, each with its own price. The burden of knowledge weighed on him, and he realized that truth could be both salvation and destruction. Liam made the fateful decision to expose the corruption, and the consequences were immediate and devastating. Protests erupted across major cities. Clashes between citizens and authorities became daily news, and families found themselves caught in the crossfire of political turmoil. He watched helplessly as lives were disrupted, businesses destroyed, and innocent people became pawns in a struggle far beyond their understanding. The media celebrated the exposure as a victory for justice, but Liam could only see the chaos it had unleashed. Every choice he had made now seemed like a double-edged sword, cutting deeply into the lives of those who had done nothing wrong. Friends and colleagues looked at him with admiration, yet he felt nothing but grief and responsibility. Nights became unbearable as he visualized the consequences of every decision, knowing that even his best intentions had caused pain. Liam understood that the world did not reward perfect choices, and that even heroes were bound to leave scars. The weight of morality pressed upon him as he realized that choices were never simple, and every act of courage carried hidden casualties. Betrayal struck when Liam discovered that Maria Brooks, his trusted colleague, had secretly aligned herself with Vargas's gang to protect her brother. Shock and disbelief froze him in place as he realized that loyalty could be weaponized and that personal relationships could complicate morality beyond measure. Maria's choices had endangered Liam's mission, and the line between friend and foe blurred. As he followed leads through Chicago's underworld, he saw firsthand the devastating effects of betrayal. Innocent people suffered, plans collapsed, and lives hung in the balance. Liam confronted the harsh reality that those he cared about most were often the ones hurt first, and sometimes the harm came from those closest to him. Each revelation forced him to re-examine his decisions, questioning whether integrity was enough to protect the innocent. Shadows lengthened across abandoned alleys and deserted warehouses, mirroring the darkness creeping into Liam's conscience. He realized that trust was a fragile commodity, and that every choice, personal or professional, carried ripple effects that extended far beyond immediate consequences. Pain, betrayal, and loyalty became intertwined in ways he had never anticipated, leaving him both wary and determined. The trail led Liam to a remote compound in Nevada where the gang held hostages, including innocent children. Sweat poured down his face as he contemplated the impossible. To save the hostages, he would have to destroy the compound, knowing that doing so would endanger surrounding areas. Each second of hesitation felt like a lifetime, every heartbeat a reminder of the lives hanging in the balance. Liam weighed the consequences carefully, knowing that inaction was as deadly as action. The wind howled across the barren landscape, carrying whispers of tragedy and sacrifice. Liam realized that in some moments, morality demanded excruciating decisions. To protect many, a few would inevitably suffer. He steeled himself, focused on the lives he could save, and accepted the painful truth that heroism often came with a hidden toll. Every choice was a gamble, every action a potential disaster, and yet, despite the fear and doubt, he advanced, determined to do what needed to be done. The compound was destroyed in a controlled operation, but the aftermath was grim. Dozens were hurt, some fatally, and the news spread rapidly across the nation. Liam became a symbol of courage, yet he felt hollow, haunted by the lives impacted by his choices. Families mourned, communities rallied, and debates raged over whether his actions had been right or reckless. The media painted him as a hero. Internally, he felt like a man broken by consequences. Every choice he had made, no matter how calculated, had caused pain. Nights were filled with visions of those he could not save, the innocent casualties hidden in statistics and headlines. Liam understood that being human meant bearing the weight of decisions, both noble and tragic. He realized that heroism was intertwined with sacrifice, and that morality was not about avoiding harm but managing it as best as one could. The echoes of his choices reverberated, reminding him that life demanded wisdom tempered with compassion. Liam returned to New York, walking along the Brooklyn Bridge, the skyline reflecting a city forever changed. He felt the burden of every choice, every life affected, and every moral compromise he had made. The realization settled deep in his chest. No decision was free of consequence. In the quiet moments, he whispered to himself, "Every choice hurts someone. Choose wisely." The city pulsed around him, oblivious to the invisible scars etched into countless lives. Liam understood that life was an intricate web of decisions, each with consequences that could stretch across neighborhoods, cities, and even the nation. The weight of responsibility remained, but so did a quiet sense of purpose. In a world where right and wrong blurred, where choices inflicted pain even when meant to protect, Liam resolved to continue making decisions, however impossible, with awareness and courage. The lesson was clear. Wisdom and empathy were the only tools to navigate a world where every choice left its mark.